everyone. In this video of Agile Management and Practices, we are going to see the fundamentals of Agile software development, the aspects of Agile approach, the practices and processes follows in Agile software development. What do you mean by extreme programming? How extreme programming is implemented in Agile software development. So Agile software development processes. So this particular Agile software development is followed in iterative approach. Iterative and incremental software development is happen in Agile. So this particular development of functionality one, whatever iterations one are followed, that is integrated and tested. Then develop functionality two, that is integrated and tested. Accordingly, there are n number of functionalities are integrated and tested into the final product. Whatever increment one, that is demo release, is developed and given to the customers or the client to get the feedback on that particular iterations and make the changes according to the suggestions of the customers. And then the final system testing is done, all the functionalities are completed into the product, then that particular product is delivered to the clients or end users, and then the complete software development will stop. If whatever functionalities are remaining, they will go for second iterations. Likewise, this number of iterations are repeated based on the users functionalities given by them. So this software development process is following a conceptual framework of software engineering that will promoting the development in iterative throughout the life cycle of the projects. So this development during one unit of time is referred as one iterations. One particular software development life cycle is called as one particular iteration, and this is last from 1 to 4 weeks of time span of it. So this agile method also emphasizes on working software as a primary measures of progress rather than making documentations of it. How quickly we can develop the product and gives to the end users or the customers. Characteristics of agile software development. This is a lightweighted methodology. Why it is lightweighted? Because it consists of a flexibility. It consists of a rough idea about the start. At the start of this project, a smaller team is maintained in this development with the help of four values and 12 principles. This agile methodology is follows. They are suitable for small and medium sized teams. Agile development is possible. At the start of this project, the vague or changing requirements are considered in the software development. Vague or changing techniques are also considered in start of the software development in agile. Simple design is prepared or developed. Minimum systems into the productions in this agile. So aspects, there are four important aspects of agile approach. The first important aspect is collaborative user story creations within the team, retrospective, then continuous integration of new functionalities into the product, iterations and release planning. The first important collaborative user story creation is done. So this user story is nothing but a set of requirements given by the customers. Based on that set of requirement, they are making the requirement in a form of user stories. They will specify predefined structures, and based on that simplified way, the documentation of all these requirements and desire end user functionalities are written in that. This user story will tells us three things about the requirement, who is having that particular requirement, what is required in that, and why it particular functionality is required by the customers. These requirements are expressed in user stories, are short, simple and easy to understandable form of statements. The format of user story creation is nothing but a format. In this, they are following as a dash particular person. So as a role of a person, designer, I want this particular design so that it will benefit to this particular model. So likewise, it is design considering all the people having different roles. Here is an example using a format. As a database administrator, I should be able to revert a selected number of database updates so that the desirable versions of database is restored. So in this way, a user stories is created for different people, those who are having different role in the software developments. Retrospective. Retrospect is nothing but one of the sprint meeting. It is important element of inspect, adopt scrum framework, and it is final step in a sprint. So some facts or some techniques are as follows into this. So this is conduction of meet at the end of every iteration. After completion of every iteration, that iteration consists of planning, designing, coding, and testing. And after completion of that iterations, they will check what worked and what didn't work as well into that retrospective meetings, how to improve and how to retain the success of the softwares. Also they will discuss on processes, people's organization, relationship, and available software tools for the developments. Follow through is required for the development. Essential self organization and continual improvement is taken care. Addresses on test effectiveness, efficiency, test case quality, team satisfaction, and testability issues are also taken care into this retrospective cross checking of it. Continuous integrations. In the continuous integration, the software engineering practices used by merging all the developers working copies with shared mainline multiple times a day. Some key points into this: whatever new increments are developed, that should be added into the final products. So there should be some steps are followed: merge the changes and integrate all the code daily or more often. Quick discover of defects into it. Developers code, debug, and check in into it for the continuous integration. Continuous integrations are automatically done with static code analysis, compilation, unit testing, functional, non-functional testing, deployment of that increments, integration test, functional, non-functional, and reports are generated into this continuous integrations. Automated continuous integration, regression testing, and feedbacks are collected from the customers. Manual testing is also done for few feature changes and defects can be fixed into it. So iterations and release planning. This iterations completion, then that particular increments it will be delivered to the customer. So this iteration planning sessions are conducted to develop that particular release plan. So when to release that particular increments are decided into this. So this plan defines when various set of usable functionalities or products will be deliverable to that particular customer. So when new functionality is added into the product, then that particular product should be deliverable to the customers are taken care. So the major objectives of this is team to have an overview of release of delivery schedule, product they are developing, so that they can align with the expectations of the product owners and relevant stakeholders primary for that particular project sponsor. Here projects product owner is a person who is responsible to delivery of that product, a good quality product with having a good functionalities on time to the customers. And stakeholders are the people those who are working in software developments. Release planning. Release planning is ongoing activity. After every 2 to 4 weeks there should be a release plan to release that particular increment to the customers. For agile life cycle, release and iteration planning is taken care. With this release planning, define product backlog first, user stories for that particular release, define that particular user epics into it, basic test approaches, test plan of the release, identifying project quality, risk, and estimate the efforts. So this release planning is done after completion of all the tested, after identifying all the risk, removing of that risk, and then that particular plan is released. As taking example of Amazon after every 1.5 seconds a new functionality is added into it and they are releasing into their products using the agile approaches. So for testers, define testable user stories for that particular increments, participation in project with a quality and quality risk and analysis is done, estimate testing efforts, plan testing for the release is also taken care in the before release of the products. So release plan may change during the project due to the internal or external factors, due to change in requirements, due to any other internal things. They can change the plan also. So testers must handle the changes accordingly and see the larger context of the release. Based on that, they will make the changes into the testing phase also. Then agile methodology is following some few process models. So there are several agile methodologies. All these share a philosophies on characteristics and practices of software development. The only thing is that there is slight difference in implementation of all of these agile practices, terminologies, and tactics for use of it. Some of the main agile software development methodology may include FDD, feature driven development, Scrum, Kanban, then dynamic system development, DSTM, extreme programming. All the methodologies are used in agile software development. So we'll see one by one what is extreme programming, Scrum, dynamic system development methods, agile modeling, agile unified process. Extreme programming is one of the well-known agile method of software development. This particular extreme programming will takes the approach in iterative software development. So in this iterative software development, a new versions may be built several times per day. In that, increments are delivered to the customer every 2 weeks of time span. All these tested must be run for every builds, and that particular build is only accepted if test runs successfully before delivery and release of that particular project. Extreme program is appropriate when it is appropriate. If the dynamic changing software requirements are there, then it's always better to use extreme programming. If there is a risk caused by fixed time projects with new technology changes there, extreme programming is better. For smaller and co-located extended software team, extreme programming will help in that case. Also, the technologies you are using allow for automated unit and functional test. Extreme programming is most suitable in that case. There are five values in extreme programmings are followed. First is communication. To transfer the knowledge between the team members, there should be a proper communication between the team members. Simplicity is also maintained. To make what is simplest thing that is working first, they will focus on that. Also, feedback, continuous and constant feedbacks are taken from the customers to make the improvements and revise their practices into it. Courage can be taken to raise the issues in the organization or to give the suggestions for making more effective implementation of the products. Respect, there should be a respect between each individuals in a team, and based on that they will work together to identify the simple design and solutions into it. This extreme programming release cycle consists of select user stories for that release. That particular user stories are break down into the number of tasks. Based on number of tasks, they will plan that particular release. That user stories developed and integrate into the test that particular software, release that particular software, and evaluate the system. Whatever user stories are remaining, they are considered for next iterations. Focusing on that particular user stories, make a release plan, developed it into the software, tested it, and then release into the product. Here user story is nothing but a describing about the user requirements. Considering user's perspective, that particular user stories are written. What are the principle and practices are followed in extreme programming? Incremental planning, whatever developed, that is in a form of increments. So this is done in recorded user stories form, and priorities are given to that user stories which is most important. Functionalities of a user, they are considering as a highest priority in a user stories. Smaller release, a set of functions in a with a small release, smaller release are or frequent release are developed in the software. So release of the system after frequent 2 to 4 weeks of time span, and with a small increments are added in a form of functionalities. Simple design, the focus is on make a simple design and avoid the complicated things of design and implementation with a shorter period of time. Test first development, so first they will go for automated unit test framework rather than actual testing, see the functionalities, results of it, and then actual implementation is taken care. Refactoring, few of the things codes can be taken from the refactoring from the existing software which are already developed, and then they will make the improvements in the available. Team programming practices are also follow the pair programming. In the pair programming, the concept of pair programming is two developer will work in pair. They are developing, one developer writing a code and other developer is checking the code whichever written by that particular developers, and providing support always to get the good job done and good program will develop into it. Collective ownership, the second practices, they are following a collective ownership, in that the pair of developers will work in all the areas of the systems, and based on that all the developers will take a responsibility of that particular code. So any change at any time can be done by any of the individuals from the team. So they are taking collective ownership or responsibilities of that code development or software development activities. Continuous integration, so this continuous integration is nothing but whatever small change, new functionalities or new small units functionalities are added into it, they are continuously integrated into the product and test it and see the software performance or system performance into it, whether they can pass that particular integrations or not. Sustainable pace is maintained. In the sustainable pace, they will check the amount of development is done in that. So slowly and gradually they will develop the products with good quality, and medium term productivity is maintained into the sustainable pace. On site customer support, so here the customer is present with the software team, and that customer will check the development work with the team, and also responsible for bringing the system requirements to that team for the implementation with the help of on-site customers availability 24 by 7 with the teams. Thank you for watching this video.